Hello everyone, welcome to the DigiDev channel, and let's get started with the functions in JavaScript. So here is a piece of code from the previous session that we have created an element. We created an li and added some class and ID and text to it. Then we appended to our UL, and here we have a new navbar item. So what functions do for us is that, let's imagine that we want to create two more LIs. What we're going to do is to copy paste this piece of code 2 times, change the name of the variable. For example, it's our element. Let's call it our element 2. And here we can have another li element. And for the third one, we should change name as well, but I'm not gonna do that. So let's imagine that now we want to have 10 more. So it's gonna take a lot of time, and it's gonna take a lot of code for us to achieve that. The functions will make that very easy. With functions, we can create a block of code, for example this block of code, and give it a name. Then we will call that name, and each time we call that name, this piece of code will be executed. So let's create a function. So I will create a function, then put this code inside of it. For creating a function is just like variables, but we're not using let or const. We say function, then the name of the function, let's say create li. And here we put 2 parentheses, then 2 brackets. This is the structure of a function. Then we put all of our code inside of that function, and each time that we want to use that function, we just call its name, create li. And before I just run it and save it and run it to show you how it works, for functions there is a difference with variables and functions. That is, for functions, we need to put 2 parentheses when we want to call them. So the JavaScript knows that it is a function. Let's save it now and hit refresh. Here you can see the shop has been added. So if I add multiple create li, you can see multiple shop will be added to our UL. So now let's say we want to change the name, the ID, and text that we have added in here. So in order to do that, we need to set a value for it. We can use variables. So to define a variable inside our function, we define it inside our 2 parentheses. And we don't need to use let or const, because inside the functions, it knows that anything that we put inside the parentheses are variables. So let's create a variable. For example, let's say ID. Okay, ID is good. So now for assigning a value to this ID, inside the parentheses here, when we are calling it, we assign the value for the ID. For example, if we want it to be a text, we just use quotations and say, for example, YouTube. And now the ID should be equal to YouTube, but we will still see shop if I save and refresh the page, because we haven't assigned the variable to the ID and inner text. So let's just assign the variable that we created to ID and inner text. And now I can save it and hit refresh. Here you can see the YouTube has been added to our UL. Now something else, we can define multiple variables inside here. For example, let's add a link, and here we need to define a link as well. So let's say youtube.com. And where can we use the link? So let's just change this inner text to inner HTML. Here now I want to add an a tag. So inner HTML, gonna be equal to an a tag with an href. Here gonna be the link, right? So let's put it empty for now because I want to now close my a tag first. And we need to attach these piece of text together, and you can use plus sign. So we say this piece of text plus our variable, and then it will be added to the text here, and this text, it will combine the text with the plus sign basically. So here we want to use the link variable that we have set for. So let's just close the text, add the plus sign, and here let's add link. Okay, I've added too much space. So here right now, if I save it and refresh, you can see here we have the YouTube and the link has been set for that. And we can also create an element and append it to that li. But I've just wanted to show you a simple way, and this is a simpler way. Alright, that's it for the functions, but there is something else I want to tell you is about the arrow functions. So there is an arrow function in newer versions of JavaScript that being used, which I'm going to tell you about it right now. It is used like this. So we can create a function like a variable. And how can we do that? Is by saying, for example, const create li, which is the name of the variable, and this variable gonna be equal to this function. And there is an error here because one thing that has been added is that we need to put an arrow-like thing here. So because of that, we're calling it arrow functions. We need to put an arrow here. So here are the name of the variable. Here are the parameters that we are passing to the function. We set an arrow, and here are the block of code that's going to be run when we call for that function. It can be written like this, and there is a special case that when we have only one variable, one parameter, we can skip the parentheses. So this is right as well. This will run successfully as well. And it is only if we have one variable. All right. And if we have none, so let's say we have a function that's going to do a job for us, and we don't have any parameter to pass to that function, we should use two empty parentheses. But if we have one parameter, we can skip the parentheses, and if we have more than one, we are still gonna use the parentheses. So that's the syntax for the arrow functions. Alright everyone, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for supporting me. Thank you. Bye bye.